I used to work as a night operator for a private security company in Ohio back in 2019. My job was simple: sit in front of a wall of CCTV monitors and make sure nothing suspicious happened at the industrial sites we covered. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid the bills, and honestly, I liked the quiet. The night shift had a strange peace to it. Just the hum of the screens, the ticking of the wall clock, and the occasional crackle of the radio. The building I worked in was an old logistics office converted into a surveillance hub. We monitored about 40 different camera feeds from different clients: parking lots, storage yards, small warehouses. Most nights, I watched the same grainy black and white images of empty lots and quiet roads until morning. That night, October 12th, 2019, started like any other. I clocked in at 10 p.m., grabbed a cup of coffee, and took my seat at console number 3. My partner, Greg, had called in sick, so I was covering the shift alone. It didn't bother me. I'd done plenty of solo nights before. Around 1:17 a.m., one of the feeds caught my attention: Camera 9, from a warehouse in Canton County. The site was closed, no workers scheduled, just a couple of semi-trucks parked in the lot. But the motion alert went off, which usually meant a stray cat or maybe a passing car's reflection. Except this time, the figure wasn't small. It looked like a person. They were standing at the far end of the parking lot, right at the edge of the frame. The image was dark and fuzzy, but I could clearly see the outline of someone, motionless, facing the camera. I zoomed in. The face was impossible to make out. It looked pale, almost blurry, like the focus refused to settle. I watched for a good minute before picking up the radio to report it. But before I could speak, the person turned and walked out of view. Not hurriedly, just casually, as if they belonged there. I rewound the footage to get a clearer look, but the weirdest thing was when, back to just a few seconds earlier, the figure wasn't there. It appeared mid-frame, as if the system glitched and skipped over them entering the shot. That wasn't possible. Our system didn't lag. It recorded continuously. I checked the rest of the cameras around the building. None of them caught the person entering or leaving. Just camera 9. I noted it in the log and moved on, but I couldn't shake the unease. I kept that feed open in the corner of my main monitor for the rest of the night. At 2:41 a.m., the motion alert went off again. Same spot. Only this time, the figure was closer, standing maybe 10 feet from the lens, still facing it, still unmoving. The image quality was horrible, pixelated, but there was something wrong with the way the shadows fell on their face. It was like the light bent around them. Then, just as before, the image cut for half a second. When it came back, the lot was empty again. I leaned back in my chair, trying to convince myself it was just some kind of interference, bad lighting, a bug on the lens, whatever made sense. But I knew what I saw. I saved the clip manually and labeled it for review. About an hour later, the radio crackled. It was Ray, the overnight supervisor at the Canton site. "Hey, you got eyes on our East Lot cameras? We got a door sensor tripped on Building B. You seeing anything?" I pulled up the feed. Building B was the same warehouse where I'd seen the figure earlier. I froze, because there, on the live feed, one of the roll-up doors was slightly open. Just a few inches, enough for someone to slip through. Ray sent a patrol to check it out while I watched. I expected to see flashlights, movement, anything. But when the guards reached the door, it was shut. They confirmed it over radio. No sign of forced entry, nothing on the ground. The sensor was probably faulty. But here's what didn't make sense. When I replayed the footage to show Ray what I saw, the door never moved. It was closed the whole time. That clip didn't exist anymore. The footage that I had just watched minutes ago had been replaced by a static image of the door, closed and still. No open frame. No figure. Nothing. That was the first night I truly felt afraid to be alone in that room. The following week, I came back for another shift. The supervisor called me into the office before I started. They'd reviewed my footage from the 12th and claimed nothing was wrong. Probably compression artifacts, they said. But when I asked for the backup file, he looked at me strange. There's no backup file for that night. The drive was wiped during a system update. I swear to God, I never deleted it. A month later, the company quietly dropped that Canton site from our client list. No explanation. But before it was removed, I checked the feed one last time. November 16th, 3:02 a.m. The parking lot was empty, except for a single figure standing again at the far end, facing the camera. Only this time, I noticed something that made my blood go cold. The reflection in the office glass behind me. There was a faint shape, standing right behind my chair on the monitor's reflection. Same size, same stillness. I spun around. The room was empty. When I looked back, the feed flickered once, then went completely black. The next morning, I told my manager I was quitting. He didn't argue. That footage, that night, none of it ever made sense. And I still wonder sometimes, when I'm driving late and see a security camera blinking red in the dark, whether it's watching me, or if something else is still watching through it.